Good afternoon or tonight. Good night. Or good night. I feel a whole lot better than I did last night. I appreciate you bearing with me last night. We had, it was a crazy night to say the least. Both of us seemed like we went to bed kind of early. Afterwards, we talked to y'all guys. I got my thing here, something that was messed up for a minute. Wearing the similar shirt that I had on last night that's kind of blending in with the background for some reason. Hope everybody's doing good. Hope everybody had a chance to get out and vote yesterday and get through it tonight. It's still going on. I know the news is on my house 24/7. Tonight, and it's a kind of I got two cases to bring up tonight, only two. The first one, the big one that I want to talk about, had a good friend of mine help me out with some of the research, and I hope to have her on sometime. And she's an excellent writer and also an excellent speaker. So maybe sometime I can get her. She really dives into all kinds of research. So we hope to get her on. I wanted to get her on tonight, but I kind of threw it at her at the last minute. I think I surprised her. So she worked really hard to get and help me out with this case and doing a lot of research. So I'm going to play this first one first. These two girls here, I think these are runaways, but, you know, they've been missing a week. So it bears playing, okay, for you. Just listen to this.
Also tonight, police are asking you to take a good look at these two teenagers. Investigators say this 15-year-old and 16-year-old have been missing for nearly a week now. Channel 2's Keith Garvin live in Angleton, Brazoria County with the latest on the search for these girls. Keith?
Dominique, the girls were last seen here at Angleton High School, so Angleton ISD is heading up the investigation. Texas EquiSearch also has been contacted, but tracking the girls has been difficult.
It's horrifying.
It's one of the worst experiences parents can endure. A child missing with barely a trace and not many leads to go on.
Anybody that's watching, just help us find our child and the other girl that is missing.
Abigail and Jared Morgan are looking for their 16-year-old daughter, Jaren, who's been missing along with her friend, 15-year-old Emily Golden. The last time anyone saw them was last Tuesday at Angleton High School, where they attend. Jaren's mother said the morning her daughter left for school, everything seemed normal. They were discussing the upcoming weekend.
We were talking that morning about what she was going to be for Halloween on Saturday. Because we were coming up with different little puns, like a pun Halloween costume.
That was the last conversation they had. The last time anyone has heard from either girl was Tuesday night when 15-year-old Emily texted her mother saying, "I'm okay, I'll be home tonight." Neither girl has been home since last Tuesday. Investigators with Angleton ISD police say they believe the girl's disappearance was planned, but that something may have gone wrong with that plan. Regardless, the Morgans just want to hear from their daughter.
At least call.
We love you. Just please come home or call us just to let us know that you're okay.
And investigators tell us that they have received records from one of the girls' phones, and it has pinged on cell phone towers, first in Houston, then Pasadena, all the way to Conroe, and most recently near downtown Houston. But the search to bring them back here to Angleton does continue. Reporting live from Angleton, Keith Garvin, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
All right. Thank you, Keith.
And I'm thinking that it's Texas. I apologize for not getting that completely. But, you know, missing that week, they could be runaways. They are good friends, but we are going to keep an eye on that. The way I understand it, that is Texas. But I apologize for not getting all that information. The case that we want to discuss, the 1,000 days is what the title is actually a missing persons case. This has happened basically, move around the thing. It has happened in May of 2017. And this case was suggested through one of our people that listen here, and one of our members, and we appreciate everybody that has somebody to help give out some information on missing people, no matter how old it is, because I still believe that there are cases that can be found, either found out what happened to them, or either find them that are missing, possibly sex trafficked or whatever. Before I read this amount that Angel did for me, our good friend, I'm gonna play a little snippet of what the news said about this.
1,000 days. That's how long it's been since a family last saw their loved one, Desiree Ferris. The then 18-year-old disappeared in 2017. Only on 41 Action News, reporter Sarah Plake spoke with her family today. And Sarah, there's still something that's giving this family some hope.
Yes, they were able to map out all of her pings, her cell phone pings, and they haven't released this information publicly yet. But one of the last places Desiree's phone pinged was off of this tower here behind me. It's off of 43rd and Washington Avenue in Independence. But after this, where she went from there 1,000 days ago is unknown.
I just want her home. But as every day that goes by, there's less and less chance that it's going to have a good outcome.
1,000 days have passed since anyone has heard from Desiree Ferris. She was 18 then, on May 2nd, 2017.
I remember it clearly. I remember getting up that morning. I didn't really sink in that anything was wrong until the next night when I looked on my Verizon and seeing that all phone activity, everything stopped that morning of the 2nd.
But it's Desiree's phone activity that gives the family hope.
We were able to get the pings. I emailed her detective and begged him to let us have the pings.
They put the pings on a map. These are some of the last areas Desiree could have been. Her phone pings off a tower at 43rd and Washington Avenue in Independence at 3:14 a.m. on May 2nd.
We figure out the distances. We figure out where around those pings somebody could have possibly left her, and we go and search the areas. That's how we do it.
The family also got another person's pings and noticed the two phones ping alongside one another until her phone shuts off. That person is outlined in court records as being one of the last to see her alive.
We have found nothing of Desi. So what do you do with that? You can't. You have to keep your mind in the mindset that she's still out there. And that's why we keep doing what we do.
Liberty Police declined our request for an interview, but they said that this investigation has progressed significantly. They said that they've tried to question people who they believe know where Desiree is at, but those people have invoked their right to remain silent, so that means they can't be officially questioned. I'm Sarah Plake, 41 Action News.
Yeah, and you'll see what the issues are when I read some of this information that was helped me, the research information, more so than I even did today. She was the youngest sister, and I read somewhere that she had 9 siblings, if I understand it right. She went with her older sister, presumably that is Suzanne, with a guy named Robert Jason Keegan. Now this Robert Keegan plays a real central part in this whole disappearance. The story that his sister was dropped off at McDonald's and picked up by Mark Arzola. The story is the sisters, both of them, were picked up by this Mark Arzola. Now Mark is like in his 30s, late 30s, to what I understand. There are conflicting reports on whether the sisters were taken home or if she had left in the secondary McDonald's location. And one of the things Angel was talking about is, why did they separate? Why did the sisters separate? There's just conflicting reports on that. Jason also since then has been indicted in a massive drug conspiracy and actually drug charges, and is serving 18 years in federal prison on drugs, meth, and weapons charges. So this guy's got a violent history, you know, and he was seen with her that night. Keegan was. So he's basically refusing to talk about this. His lawyer won't even let him speak to the investigators about any of that. He's doing 18 years right now. So that tells me possibly that tells me he was involved, because if he knew about it and somebody else did it, then he would gladly talk to the police and hope for getting out of jail. I mean, he's doing 18 years, and federal time is day for day. They don't give good time or anything. So that tells me right there he possibly was the one that did it. He's in his late 20s at the time of her disappearance, and Arzola is in his late 30s. Now, this is something that my friend, the researcher, Angel, just call her Angel, that's the first name, Angel, said in the research is, why is an 18-year-old running around with a 30-something-year-old man and a late 20s? You know, you can kind of understand maybe if he's in his early 20s, 21, 22, 23, but up near 30 and in the late 30s, I mean, that just something don't click on that. Why did she feel the need to run around with guys older, a lot older? This Arzola claims that he took Desiree to his house, and she was picked up in a white pickup truck, which Keegan does drive, or did drive at the time, a white pickup truck. There were several text messages between this Arzola and the missing Ferris. After she left some articles of clothing there at his house. They're not saying what that she left at his house. And these texts appear to be verified from the research. They are verified. And at the time, like we said, Jason Keegan drove a white pickup truck. Keegan and Ferris exchanged 23 text messages between 10:20 p.m. and 10:58 p.m. and Facebook messages in which it was declared that she wanted to go home. So she was telling Keegan, look, I want to go home. And let's see if I can, I'm missing something here. She wanted to go home. It is a realistic conclusion that the one that picked her up from this Arzola's house was Keegan, and that she had indicated to him, will you take me home, basically. But if the timeline is correct, Keegan picked up Ferris shortly after the text and Facebook message exchange. Her phone pings at 1 to 2 a.m. on May the 2nd, and again at 3 to 3:14 a.m., and then for the last time at 4 a.m. The areas where it pinged that night was a city park, Citgo gas station, and near an auto body shop and some old apartment complex. And I'm going to tell you about pings. Pings are not right on the money. If you got that software on your phone called Find a Phone, if you got an iPhone or you got it on Android, it's some other type there where you can actually follow your child if they're driving, or your wife or your cousin or whatever. We have them on our phones, and we give our kids permission to follow us if we want to travel somewhere. We don't care about that. But you can actually watch somebody go up the interstate, and their car will be 100, 200, 300 yards in the woods going up the interstate in the woods, because they're not exact. Okay, so she could have very well, it says about an auto parts place and then some apartments. She very well could have been inside one of these apartments at the time her phone pings. Let me see. City Park gas station, body shop. There's apartments beside the interstate. A Phillips gas station, Timber Trace apartment complex, a discount corner store, discount phones, tobacco, and another apartment complex, an abandoned looking house. it's just impossible to tell exactly where she was. But if you and the one conclusion one angel said is it may have been looked like the way they were going, they were dropping off drugs, because if he was into a criminal conspiracy for drugs, it could very well be what she was doing. And too, she might have saw something he was doing, and why she was with him. If he was a drug dealer, or he got arrested for conspiracy for meth, and he's got 18 years. So obviously, it was a large amount of meth to get 18 years in federal prison, probably trafficking. It is no indication that the two known men the 35-year-old Azorza and Keegan, know each other, according to all the information that Angel got from me. And there's a lot of comments on how active that Desiree was on social media and Facebook, and with minimal post. I don't 1G only 3. I don't understand that. Yeah, she might have been active on Snapchat, also another one. The police may have more information than they're sharing about this. I just can't understand, just like Angel can't understand, is why she's associating with such older people, I'm going to play another little video about this and see if it shares anymore. I think it does.
A Liberty, Missouri family is marking a sad anniversary. Tomorrow marks 3 years since Desiree Ferris went missing. She simply disappeared, and her family has no answers and no closure. Here's investigative reporter Angie Racono.
Desiree was 18 years old. She went missing on her mom's birthday. She texted she was on her way home, but she never showed up. And then her social media accounts went dark and her phone stopped pinging. 3 years later, her mom is begging for information and justice.
People out there know somebody just doesn't disappear off the face of the earth. I mean, we haven't found nothing of hers. No phone, no purse, no nothing. She just vanished. And we all know in reality that doesn't happen.
Light your candles.
There have been vigils and searches for Desiree Ferris. 3 years later, there are no answers for her mom.
I feel closer to her down here. If I'm in her room, I just feel like I'm closer to her. So, but it's just, I don't know.
Desiree's bedroom is pretty much the same. Bruno Mars hangs on the wall.
She was in love with that man. I took her to a concert and she got her tickets. She just screamed.
Posters from vigils have been added, and then another and another.
I just don't get it.
Patty Tam knows some information. None of it is good. Court records named the last people Desiree was in contact with. The teen was hanging out with men older than her.
That group of people are just nasty, and they don't want to be called snitches.
The trail leads to McDonald's and a house in Kansas City. Social media messages show Desiree wanted to go home. A man said, okay, he'd take her home, but Desiree never made it.
For the longest time, I had nightmares that she was screaming for me, and I couldn't find her. I couldn't do nothing. If it is the worst case scenario, she doesn't deserve to be thrown out like a piece of trash.
Liberty police have a formal investigation. People have been questioned, but there has never been an arrest. There is no body and no proof a crime took place. Much of the groundwork has been Desiree's own family, especially her stepmother, Jennifer Ferris, who follows the dark leads.
We're kind of at a standstill, and we're still relying on people to come forward with information on her.
She's coming home, no matter what, good or bad, on her own 2 feet, or whether I'm carrying her, she's coming home. That's all I want, is I just want her home, and then we'll go from there.
The family tells me there is a new area they would like to search by foot as soon as the restrictions are lifted. In the meantime, they're asking anyone with information to call the TIPS hotline. Angie Racono, KCTV5 News.
It's one thing I noticed, Angel. She's saying there's not a lot of stuff on social media. One thing is, another thing he said is there was no any evidence, just like that tape said. There's no DNA, there's no blood, there's no clothing, there's nothing. So one theory was that Angel thought maybe this is some type of sex trafficking thing where he pawned her off to somebody in the drug trade for maybe some type of he's got the narcotics there to do something. But one thing you got to think about here is I'm thinking maybe she saw something. He went out to make a delivery of drugs. He saw somebody that did not want to be exposed, and
any trace of evidence at all?
Well, I did see one video. It's I think it's through Chris Hansen. If you want to look it up and watch it, it's about 10 to 15 minutes long, and I couldn't get it into without cutting it up in so many parts because of the software. But they said, one witness said that the white truck pulled up at the house and she was laying dead in the seat of the truck. That they had the guy claims that he saw her dead in the truck, or at least passed out. She was not moving. The guy said that she's dead. So I don't know if that's true or not, but if so, she's buried somewhere. And they buried her with everything with her. That's not highly impossible if somebody killed her. And I'm thinking because she's 18 years old. He takes her around to make some drop some drugs off. She sees somebody important. Anybody from a police officer to a politician to a big businessman in town, or somebody that didn't want to be known that they did, trafficked with this organization. So then, she gets hurt or killed to keep her silent, and they just take her out and bury her somewhere and bury her with everything, her purse, her, everything she's got, they bury it with her. So, that's not entirely impossible, but the fact that the lawyer will not let the guy that's doing 18 years in federal prison talk to the police tells me that he knows something and he's involved with it. Because if he knew something and wasn't involved with it, the lawyer would be saying, "Oh, well, we'll talk to you, but we want immunity. And we want him out of prison on these 18 years.
Maureen said, why kill her for drugs?
Well, for instance, say he was making drug drop-offs and he dropped drugs off at a politician's house, and he's looking at his whole, or somebody that shouldn't be involved in drugs. I'm not talking about the guy down the road that's been arrested 4 times for meth. He drops it off at a policeman's house, or he drops it off at a politician's house, or the mayor's house, or somebody that does not want to be exposed as somebody involved in drugs. There's people killed there's people killed in the drug trade every day over money, over snitching, over, they got a thing in the drug trade that calls snitches get stitches. That you've always heard that. They try to convince, if somebody snitches on them that they're going to die, so, that's one thing. It could be that she got in, they put her in sex trafficking and all that, but I don't really think that, in my opinion, that's it. I think it's probably that she saw something. That's what I think. Obviously, she was friends with this guy. First off, he was older. He was involved in drugs. She had to know that if she ran around with him. You know, she's enough to call him and say, I want to go home. Come get me. So maybe he's out making deliveries. Maybe he knew, hey, I'm going to make a delivery near her house. Maybe he told her, stay in the car. Maybe she got out. You know, we don't know. He could have told her, kind of got to a drug house and says, stay in the car, and left her in there for too long. And she gets wanting to go home and freaking out and just gets out of the car and walks up there and sees something. You just don't know, because anybody that's doing 18 years in prison, federal prison for drugs, is a big time operator. He's not the guy that's got, 8 ball of meth that he's smoking down at the corner. He's not the guy. Not talking about 8 ball. An 8 ball is 1/8 of an ounce of meth. That's what it is. And an ounce of meth is about 2 fingers on a plastic bag, about 4 inches by 2 fingers deep is an ounce of meth. And in marijuana, it's a little bit more. It's like 4 fingers. So it's just, if you've seen any of it in your life, like I have, an ounce of meth can be, it depends on how big the meth, like if it's, I don't want to talk, I'm telling you things like if Mexican meth is the most strongest, and, your guys that are making you shake and bake labs in these motels are small. But if he would have just been dealing in small amounts of methamphetamine, you're not going to get 18 years in the penitentiary. You're talking about probably 250 grams a pound or a half pound of methamphetamine would get him there for 18 years. I think that probably nearly a pound of meth, or if they had bought from him several times or whatever. It's just a lot of methamphetamine. That's a lot of time for meth, unless he had a large amount of it. So, maybe she saw something. I think that would be more, to me, that would be more feasible than them drugging her and putting her in the sex trade. Not to say that she can't be. She might have went out and, for whatever reason, he might have gave her to somebody, who knows? There's a lot of sites like this. Craigslist used to do a lot of, Craigslist used to have a lot of this stuff until they got sued, and also they had some criminal problems where they were using sex traffickers and prostitution and all kinds of stuff used to be on Craigslist. Now they use a thing called Backdoor.
Rick, put up what Angel wrote.
Jeremy and Angel?
Yeah.
Okay. Family of an ex-biker helping in the search, a lot of areas. Yeah, I saw that too. I saw that. I think that was on that Chris Hansen report also that I saw. He said he had almost done time once. He was in the criminal type element. He looks the part. And so he took the mother out, and the sister, and they went out to a lot of different locations and tried to get information from people that were living homeless and stuff like that out there. So, yeah, I agree with you. And she might be in the drug trade. I mean, being sex trafficked. But you think about this, they would have to know somebody that would be directly involved in that, and it might be easier for information to get out. It might be easier for information to get out if she was trafficked rather than if she was killed. But it may be. I don't know. But go and watch that. It's on. If you just search her or search her name, that came up. It's under. It's Chris Hansen. I think it's True Crime or something like that. But it did have a lot more information than I'm giving you here. This biker guy looks like something off Hell's Angels or something, but he does go with the mother or the sister, and they go out to a lot of these places, and they're basically putting up flyers, and they're also trying to get anybody to talk if they would, But yeah, I heard something about mushrooms, something in there that people were.
So Jason
Mushroom-
Herbert
mushrooms.
is a YouTuber. Have family get in touch with him. He has a lot of contacts for missing people.
Who?
Jason Herbert.
Jason
He's a
Herbert.
YouTuber.
Okay. I don't know. I think if it was me looking into this as a law enforcement officer, if this was my case, I would look at all angles, of course. But it'd be pretty easy to contact. You could contact a couple of agencies and find out if they monitor all the sex trafficking agency off the internet and other lines of communication to find out who the new girls are in the area or in other areas. And they take pictures of missing people, and they put it into a software that anytime that you're like, all right, we've done search warrants where we found pictures of kids that we couldn't identify. So we want to find out if those kids are missing children or any women that are being trafficked. We give them to like the FBI, DEA, U.S. Customs has a big thing, U.S. Marshals, and also these, I think it's the lost, the missing, and they put them in a database, and basically they've run them through a database, and they look for certain type of points on their face or the missing children compared to photos. And it's pretty good. I mean, they can actually run it down where they actually find possibilities of these kids being missing. I know there is a couple of missing cases where this photo, and I personally have seen copies of the photo of these two kids tied up in a van. It's a female and a male kid, and they think one of the children is a missing boy that was kidnapped. They're tied up and they had duct tape over their mouth, and they've already possibly identified them. But there's criminals out there that are using these. They'll find a family of a missing kid, and they're contacting them, and they'll say, look, I got this picture of your missing son or your missing daughter. And they're using that one picture to coerce them to pay money to these scammers. But this lost and missing database, they can actually do that. They can actually run these pictures. But it's I don't know. It'd be easier just to kill them, for somebody just to kill them if they saw something. I don't know. I'm wondering how long that she has, we don't know all the phone records, but I'm wondering how long that she has been friends with this guy and how much she knows about this guy and his activities, because she actually called him for a ride home. Don't you think that she knows somebody else in town that she could call and just say, hey, I need a ride home, without calling a daggum meth dealer or a guy that's been in jail now for trafficking meth? I mean, you think about that. She associated with these older guys, the 30-something-year-old guy that she went to his house, and then she calls, the first person she calls to come get her is a daggum drug dealer that's 10 years older than she is. I just, she obviously had to know what type of life he was living, She had to know that. She had to know that he was into drugs. She had to know that he was I mean, we don't know how long she knew him. We don't know what her relationship was with him or with this older 30-year-old guy. I can't get it. I don't know what the deal is. And I'm sure they have went back and tried to follow up on how well they knew each other but they can't talk to him because his lawyer said no. And, that's the one thing about, there's got to be a connection longer. You don't just pick somebody out and think, well, I'll call so-and-so to come take me home. You only call people to come take you home to somebody you know real well. At least, I would have. I'm not going to just arrive with somebody I just know of. And how would she even know his number? I'm sure this guy that's dealing drugs, only thing I hope is I'm hoping she wasn't doing meth. If she had been buying meth from this guy, all along, then, who knows? Texas, Arkansas made huge drug bust this week, coming up from Mexico, 29 people arrested. Wow, that's great, Linda. That's awesome. I used to get these books, and I don't even know if they're still giving them out or not, but they came out of El Paso. In El Paso, DEA, U.S. Customs, Border Patrol, they put out a thing. It's every week, I think it's once a month, basically tells all the drug seizures and where they found the drugs so that other police departments can look for those drugs in those particular areas and know what's going on. And it's amazing how much drugs are getting caught at the border or getting seized on the I-10 or those interstates that run north and south. I-10 is a main thoroughfare. It is a major thoroughfare. And then I-65 also is a major thoroughfare. But I-10, money goes west and drugs go east. That's how they say it. And, I know that the Draper brothers and I don't know if anybody else right now, and a couple of people are doing this Barnestown deal up there where they're missing 4 or 5 people, but they've had 2 murders up there. They had one other girl murdered, and then they've had a police officer was murdered, a canine officer was murdered going home. Somebody actually put a tree branch or something across the road. He went out to move it. It's like an interstate exit. And as he moves it, somebody shoots it and kills him. And there's a lot of stuff going on up there in that little town. And I'm really hoping and praying that Draper brothers up there don't get themselves into something, because that is a big time serious deal up there. There's drugs, big major drugs, I think is what they're dealing with, major type drug thing. And there's just some really scary stuff happening up there. In fact, somebody told one of them, the brother, Dusty, I think his name is, don't go up there alone. And that's exactly right. Do not go up there alone. Yeah, they ambushed the guy out there on the police officer. And as far as I know, there's never been anybody that has been arrested for that. So, we don't know what's going on. When drugs are involved, I'm telling you, it can be very, very bad. And if this girl was involved, my question and all along is, one, how does she know this guy? How does she know the older guy, the 30s guy? What did she leave at his house? How did she know the Keegan guy? How did she know him? And how did she know to call him? You know what I mean? How does she know to call him?
Tommy, coming from a female, I can tell you that teenage girls, when they get attention from older men, it makes them feel very important and pretty and, older.
But 2 of them like that in the 30s, and then he's in his late 20s, and then would you call? I mean,
I'm just telling you, they can become infatuated
I
with
agree.
the idea.
Right, but here's the thing, when I say is, it's easy to know this person and be infatuated with him over here, but she she obviously associates with older guys, all obviously. And the fact is, she knows this guy's number,
Well, Melinda's right.
You know,
Especially for girls who grow up without a daddy or a daddy that's
I
not
agree.
involved, they will gravitate towards that daddy figure without realizing that it's the daddy figure they're gravitating to.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, yes, you're absolutely right. But
Now, I'm not saying it's right.
no, I'm not saying
is
you.
wrong.
Yeah, I understand. But what I'm saying is, she had to feel awful confident with the guy that she called. Well, she talked to both of them. She knew both of them's phone number because she talked to. She called the older guy and said, "Hey, I left this stuff at your house." That is kind of surprising in itself. He's in his 30s. She's 18 years old, and then she calls the drug dealer and says, "Hey, I want to go home." So he knows where your home's at, because if not, he would have said, "Hey, where's home?" or or anything. He knows where her home's at, and then he does pick her up, but she never makes it home. So I would be 100% sure that this Keegan guy is involved, but he won't talk to him. He won't even speak to him.
That's how Epstein got the girls. He just told them, gave them money coming out, everywhere, telling them how beautiful they were, going to make them models, going to fly them to a private island, and they're used to living on daddy's paycheck.
But a lot of the girls that Epstein got too, though,
that woman got them.
Yeah, that woman got them, or they might have already been in prostitution too.
No, I don't think some of those that were really young.
Maybe not. Let me get up here and scoot this thing up. Maybe not. They want sugar daddy. They want a sugar daddy. But it's just it's a big question mark. One is, why was she involved in all these older guys? One thing. And two, if
Mark,
she knew he was on drugs,
Mark, the older guy, had drug charges as well.
Okay. Well, you got to wonder how much she was involved in that. Was she on meth? That's what I'd like to know. And if you can't ask a mother that, because the mother may not even know. Your sister would have known, and I think that's something that probably needs to be brought up. The sister probably would have known that if she was doing drugs or not.
Well, the sister to leave her there must have felt like that she wasn't in danger. I mean,
that's true.
Would you leave your sibling somewhere if you worried about them at all?
No, I wouldn't leave my friend somewhere if I worried about him at all. You think she was on drugs, Amber? Do you think she's on meth? Do you have a reason to think that, or?
Amber's near Meth Mountain.
Is she?
Yeah, North Alabama.
Yeah.
Tennessee line.
Yeah.
She knows.
They actually call the county that we live in currently Meth Mountain, the area. Not the county, but the whole area is called Meth Mountain. We live on a mountain. It's not like you think you go up a hill and there's this huge mountain. We live on a mountain, but the mountain is huge. You don't realize you're on a mountain unless you go up onto it, but you don't really realize you're on a mountain. They call it Sand Mountain, but it's huge. It's like.
Julie wants to know, do meth heads get acne skin? Is that what it's called?
They get, pop marks on their skin
and
stuff. They get on their skin or on their arms. But I'm going to tell you, that's not always the case. It's the meth, the stuff in meth causes it reacts to the body. I don't want to go into everything that's in meth. There's 2 or 3 ways to make meth, and they have 2 or 3
don't
things.
Tell them how to make it. Just tell them what's in it.
They use, of course, pseudoephedrine for making meth, and that comes in cold medicines. They use lithium out of lithium batteries as a reactionary thing. They use Coleman fluid, and you can make it another way that you use red devil lye. You can use match heads, the match heads off of matches. You cut the little match heads off of it. There's what they call red phosphorus, and that's how they get the phosphorus portion off the matches. They got red phosphorus they make out of, and then they have what they call a shake and bake method, where they use a little like a bottle, and they make it in the bottle and they shake it, and as it builds up pressure, they burp the bottle several times until that comes out, and then they pour it back through a screen with a solvent, and it comes out into the actual making of the meth. But there's 3 or 4 different ways that you can make it with red phosphorus, and then if red phosphorus stays close to the ground, close to the floor, if somebody bends over to look under a bed and they've got some of that red phosphorus down there, kill you.
Well,
but
you told me when I was doing my other business of foreclosed properties not to ever pick up a bottle and throw it into a garbage can or anything like that.
I mean, we found bottles on the side of the road. I know that they're making meth in there. It's obvious. Or somebody throws a cooler out on the side of the road. I tell people, don't ever take home a cooler that's laying on the side of the road. Because 9 times out of 10, they're probably making meth in it.
Who thinks it's a good idea to use battery acid on the inside of your body?
Yeah, well, it's not battery acid. They use the lithium strips to react. It's a reaction thing inside a bottle.
Okay.
Anyway, it's I went to a drug school actually in Meridian, Mississippi. It was on the Air Force base over there, or not an Air Force, but a Navy Air Station. And they had a drug school, and this guy came out in all kinds of headgear and all this. Said, "We're going to make meth." Yeah, right. And yes, they did. They made methamphetamine, all but one step. So it can be deadly, the mere making of the methamphetamine, because of the fumes. We had an apartment complex that the girl came in. The guy was making a shake and bake thing. He was burping the bottle, and fumes built up. And the girl came in with a cigarette, and it blew the whole downstairs up, blew the whole frames of the windows out in the yard. The door was blown out in the yard, blew the walls in about 6 inches, moved the whole wall 6 inches from in the apartment, blew the guy off his couch up here at the next floor up. So yeah, burnt one guy really bad. Yeah, don't want to teach anybody specifics, even though you can go online on the internet and you'd be surprised what you can find. But I don't want to, I could tell you all the ingredients, but I'm not going to tell you how to put it together. And I'm not going to tell you, I'll leave out 1 or 2 ingredients. But either way of it, it is some bad stuff.
Yeah, listen, the kids in our area were smashing up Smarties and snorting them up their nose.
Yeah.
The candy Smartie.
Yeah, this is crazy.
It's crazy what kids will do.
Yeah, or what's the newest thing they were doing?
Well, they were eating the Tide Pods.
The newest thing they were doing, they were crashing their head against the concrete too, see if it's going to knock you out or not. They were doing something else too. It's crazy.
Yes,
thing.
Beach Bum. It was Smarties. They were crushing them up and sniffing them.
Yeah. Has anybody seen the movie Breaking Bad before? I want Dina to watch it, but
nope.
it's just it shows a lot. I mean, they don't get into the specifics on how to make meth and anything, but it shows a lot of the things that and just the absolute bad to the bone way these people are that do meth.
Fighting Crime said he got a letter from their middle school last year because the kids were snorting pixie sticks. Yay!
Gosh.
I can't watch it, Melinda. I can't handle that cussing.
There's not a huge amount. I mean, there is some bad language in it, but there's a lot of death in it that she doesn't like to see.
I can't do torture, death. I'd never make a drug dealer or a trafficker. I just can't. I can't even watch boxing.
Yeah, crocodile. Yeah, that's another one that eats the flesh down from the inside. Yeah.
Thank you, Mandy.
Mandy, thank you. We appreciate it, Mandy.
Hey, tell them about that show we saw from Russia.
That's the one who's talking about crocodile. Thank you, Mandy. I appreciate it.
where that doctor.
Thank you. I am feeling a whole lot better than I was last night. You're very right. Even though today I kind of felt like blah after taking, I took something to help my head last night.
Tell them about the doctor taking those that metal stuff and clanking those.
Yeah, that we saw a thing about Russia crocodile. It showed them how this stuff is like 10 to 15, 20 times more dangerous than, or more addictive than heroin. And it gets them high, and it actually eats the skin from the inside out. And this guy was there, and his whole bone was exposed. And he took one of these things he put on the knee, knocked, and he went clink, clink, clink on his bone there. So
there was no flesh
or anything.
muscle.
Migraines, no, they're not really migraines, Maui. They're I don't know if it's stress.
I call them migraines.
Stress headache, or I don't know what it is. She thinks it's a migraine. It's not. It just last night it was just right across the top of my head, right here, and it was. Once I went to sleep, woke up the next morning, I was fine. But
he worried about losing a bet that he didn't need to worry about.
I worried about.
Oh
just general stress.
Thank you, Melinda.
Just general stress. And Melinda, thank you. I appreciate that, Melinda. Thank you very much.
MH came in. Hello, MH. I was wondering where you are.
Thank you very much. MH.
Yeah, MH is from over the seas.
Africa?
I can't remember.
MH, where are you from again?
We got some from Australia, New Zealand.
Yeah, I tell you what I do too is
South Africa. Yes.
South Africa. Welcome. The one thing I do is I put cold pack on my head.
And I tell him all the time to drink water because I believe he is dehydrated.
Yeah, that's my problem. That's part of my problem. But a cold pack on my head, just go to sleep with a cold pack on my head. But thank y'all for praying for me and thinking about me. I do feel 100% better than I did yesterday for sure. I was not in a good place last night with that headache. It was really bad.
Amber, I rub peppermint oil on him all the time. Hey y'all, if you get that sounded so southern.
Hey y'all, what's
I'm sorry. That sounded so southern. Peppermint oil is very good for nausea. Rub it on your stomach, put a few drops in your belly button, and it'll take away nausea. That's your tip for the day.
But one thing worries me about these girls that we featured at the first of the show, these two possible runaways, is that they've been gone a week, and it's all fun and games for the first couple of days, but after that time builds up, I know even girls and stuff would tend to take more chances, take a ride with somebody they don't know, go stay on somebody's couch they don't know. It's just a lot of bad stuff that can happen, especially to young females in that particular situation. And you said it was not in Texas. It was in Texas, Dina?
Missouri, I think she said.
Houston, Missouri?
No, I don't know. It's way up there. I can't go
back.
Look
it up on there.
What am I looking for?
Those two kids that were missing. The ones
I thought they were from Texas.
Okay.
That's what it said.
I don't know.
Lynn, thank you.
Yeah. Hey, y'all.
Kansas City, she said.
Kansas City. Oh, yeah, you're right, because other than they said they checked at other thing. One thing is, I don't realize I have a Southern accent until I go somewhere like Milwaukee. Like I was in Milwaukee, and I stopped to get something from a convenience store. And the girl, I said, I spoke to her just out of kindness and, just trying to be friendly. And she just stared at me, and I said, I had to look at myself, make sure, I said, what's the matter? She said, where are you from? And I said, guess. And she guessed everything besides at the time we were living in South Alabama. She didn't guess Alabama. She thought it was Kentucky. She said New Orleans. I said, man, I don't know nothing like nobody from New Orleans. But my wife says I can turn it on if I really want to sound Southern. I can turn it on, and I sound really Southern, but I don't think
you sound like you're trying to be in Gone with the Wind now.
Gone with the Wind. But, this girl, somebody that sent me this, and I wish that I could tell, I wish that I could think of now who was that sent me this case. I think they said they knew her mother. And, try to, in the future, if anybody sends me a case, if you know the family, see if they won't come on live with us. I'd be more than happy to put them on, and more than happy to let them tell as much as or as little as they want to tell about the missing person. Only thing they need is they need to have like Chrome or Foxfire downloaded on their computer. They need to have a computer with a camera and a mic, and that's it. And they can just download Foxfire or Chrome on their computer and if they don't want to keep it on there, they can delete it. But they just follow the link, and when they come up, we'll do a split screen, and they can discuss anything or as little as they want to about the case. And this gives us a lot of insight. I know that some people don't want to do that, and if they don't, that's fine too. If they want me to call them and talk to them about it, I'll be glad to do that too. I've said before, as this channel grows, and I hope it grows a lot more, we are really hoping to get 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And the reason is the more people know about us and the more people follow us, the greater chance of us hitting on some information that leads to the person that is missing. And what you can do is, if you know somebody that might like to watch us or listen to us, is share it with us. We are still, and I noticed that the Draper brothers said this the other night, and it's currently the same for me. About 20% of the people that watch our videos do not subscribe. And I don't know why that is to any of them. He said the same thing. About 20-something% of his watchers do never subscribe. And I don't know if it's because, I don't know what it is. But if you do subscribe, I hope you mash that little bell beside where it is that you subscribe. And that'll just let you know when that we are going to be on, or if we're doing something out of the ordinary and we're on. But I know that we gained a huge amount of subscribers when we were wanting to reach 1,000. I told you I wanted to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of September, and within 3 days I had 1,400 people. So, it just it does it does help, for one, that you like the videos, and two, that you share them, because it just 1 or 2 people a week. I think we're growing at about 3 or 4 people a week right now, but it does help. Hey, I'll take 1 a week if that's all we get, but we do lose some too. We've lost altogether about 200 subscribers since we started, and that's not uncommon. And a lot of it, and some of them quit because we talk about God. I had a ton of them send me messages: since you talked about God, I'm not going to subscribe to your channel. Some felt like that maybe that we should talk about the Morphews every single day. I just believe there are so many other people out there missing that if there's not something breaking on that case, that we ought to discuss it. We ought to bring everybody, every one of these cases, out in the open. I think that, sure, do I want to talk about the Morpheus if something comes open? Absolutely. Why? Because we followed that since the beginning. And I think, personally, I think that there will be a resolution to that case. Personally, I think it's coming. I think it may happen before the end of the year. Why? I'm not going to say why, but I just think it is. But we would be neglecting what this channel is all about if all we did was concentrate on the Morphew case. I believe there's a lot of other cases that are probably just as in need or more in need of trying to find out where these people are, people that have been missing for 10, 15, 20 years. I still think that they're solvable. And, you see every day that people are found. Now, I know that Adventure with a Purpose is doing an outstanding job. They have actually found and solved a lot of missing person cases, finding them. Unfortunately, they've been all deceased. And that's not to say that that's not good, because it is. It's bringing closure to somebody. But I'm hoping we'll find some that are alive. Either maybe they're just missing, or maybe they're in human trafficking, or maybe they're disappear on their own. I don't know. I'm just hoping we'll find some people alive, and I believe that we will. I'm still hoping that the Kessie case out of Central Florida is solved. I'm still hoping that they find Leah Cabot. I'm still hoping that they find Tiffany Daniels out of Pensacola that we covered. I'm hoping they find a lot of the other ones we covered. We are still going to look at every case, but if you can share us to your friends, that would help us so much. And not just because the more subscribers we get, the more YouTube might throw us some coins. It's because that I honestly believe that the more people out there that are hearing us, the better chance they are of people being found. That's it.
And I want the parents to have closure.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I mean. I want the parents to have closure too. If you could give us a like, that would be super. If you could share videos, that would be even more super. Y'all did it before. I know you did it before. And we used to have about 10 to 15 Aussies on the channel every night. But it seems like we're down to 1 or 2. And I would really, really love to have more people from Australia and Africa, South Africa, New Zealand, all over the world. And if you send me a case that y'all have that you're interested in me following, please send it to me. I will feature it. I promise.
That would be awesome.
We did a couple of Australian, and we've done a couple from Britain. But if you see anything that you think we need to get out there right away, we will do it.
MH says there's a case of Sawyer West, age 29, missing from Edmont, Washington since the 16th of October. He left a nursing home. There's footage of him running. He suffers from schizophrenia, but the nursing home seems suspicious.
Yeah. I think I heard that or saw something about that. If you have any information on that, and you can just email it over to the bottom right here. This thing right. This is weird. That email right there at the bottom. Wait, this side. I'm getting it right. That email right there.
No, I'm laughing because Rowan said we need more puppy videos.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you, we are gonna put one together. I was supposed to do it already. You're gonna get me in trouble. I didn't do it. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
I'll try to do that tomorrow and have it for you Friday. She put together a little video, shot a bunch of film of Maggie and Gracie and run around the backyard. So I will do that in the at the end of one of these. Yeah, we did cover her the Tara case, Tara young girl, Brissa. Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that the stepfather had something to do with that. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, who lets their kid go over to a registered sex offender's house? I don't care if he is a stepfather. That's just crazy. But if you can send me something, send me some ideas, and I might not get it this next time, but I'll try.
Melinda said non-biological father was arrested on not registered as sex offender is a strong suspect.
Right.
Good Lord.
I mean, you think, but we did feature that on here. We did have that case on here. And that's exactly what they said. And I'm glad they got him in jail for something until they could possibly work out some DNA or maybe DNA from the site. But it's definitely, I think definitely him.
They want a video of my cakes. Y'all, I baked for the past 3 days.
Yeah, no, she's not helping me
cake.
none. I'm telling you what, not helping me any. Yeah, we've actually got some video of her doing some stuff in the kitchen, and also she makes homemade wine. We don't drink. She doesn't drink maybe a half glass of wine in a month.
Oh, a
year. But we make it for the fair, to enter it into the fair, and she wins all kinds of stuff at the fair.
Okay, listen.
But,
Jackson 72 said, my stepmother was missing, found murdered. Please don't stop talking. The good Lord praying. I love your show.
Well, absolutely. And like I said, I'm sorry for that. I really, really am. Everybody that's been in law enforcement or worked with the government or any federal stuff knows and sees all the heartache that's out there. It's amazing at how much you can actually see and still sleep at night. But I really feel for you. I really do. And we are not going to forget about the ones that are not. Let me just be brutally honest, okay? I'm going to be brutally honest. And the videos, and I have to look at this. I have to look at everything. It's just the nature that I have. The videos that get the most views have been the Morphew videos. I'm getting like 2,000 to 10,000 views on a Morphew video. The videos that don't get the most views are the ordinary person that's been missing out there for 10 years. They may get 500 to 1,000 views, a little over 1,000 views. But I'm going to go ahead and feature them anyway, because I think once the channel grows to a certain point, then it won't matter that much on. And it doesn't really matter to me. I mean, it helps my channel to more views I get, but that's just how it is right now. You can go down yourself and look at all of my videos. Go to the main page and look at my videos of the views, and you can see exactly what I'm saying. And, you can't say, well, forget about the views, because the views is, unfortunately, that's the way it works. The more views, the more likes you have, and the more views and the more comments you get. Believe it or not, is how the algorithm on YouTube shares your channel. That's just how it is. What's that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Lynn.
Wait here. Tammy, he was last seen him.
She was last seen with him and her brother.
Yeah, fishing that night.
She walked into the woods with him, but didn't come back.
Wow. What did Lynn say?
Oh my gosh. Kim said there isn't anything. She can't send you any information on her niece. Law enforcement believe her husband cut her up and threw her in the swamp.
Oh, good God. How anybody can be so cruel,
This is somebody you supposedly loved and married and fell in love with. And man, talk about sleeping with the enemy.
Nothing of her. Well, is there can you send me the name anyway, and we'll put a poster if they have one up a lot of times maybe a person didn't do it right there and they took her somewhere and somebody saw her that might link something together, you know. A lot of times when somebody's missing and they have a car involved, even though the cars were covered, they ask people, have you ever seen anybody in this car at all? And that might, you know, that might link something together. That was one thing I wanted to do here. This is, let me see, let me go up to this. This is the picture of this girl that's missing. This Desiree Ferris, 18. It's Missouri. That's where it was, Liberty, Missouri. When she left the residence, an unknown vehicle, but we from the researchers told us this is a white truck. And it's, I feel almost, you know, when the lawyer says, no, you can't talk to him, the police, when you're in 18 years in federal prison, that tells me you probably had something to do with it. Because if not, he'd be telling what he knows to get out of jail. That just, you know, that's just plain and simple.
Liberty, Missouri. Liberty, Missouri.
I mean, you know, this girl, she got red hair there. I guess she dyed her hair red. She kind of, I mean, I just don't understand why they associate with the older guys, you know?
You wouldn't.
Well, I mean,
you're not a female.
I know, but I mean, I still don't understand that. And we're going to play this I know, inmates, you came in. I want to play this other thing about the two girls missing for anybody that came in late.
Also tonight, police are asking you to take a good look at these two teenagers. Investigators say this 15-year-old and 16-year-old have been missing for nearly a week now. Channel 2's Keith Garvin live in Angleton, Brazoria County with the latest on the search for these girls. Keith?
Dominique, the girls were last seen here at Angleton High School, so Angleton ISD is heading up the investigation. Texas EquiSearch also has been contacted, but tracking the girls has been difficult.
It's horrifying.
It's one of the worst experiences parents can endure. A child missing with barely a trace and not many leads to go on.
Anybody that's watching, just help us find our child and the other girl that is missing.
Abigail and Jared Morgan are looking for their 16-year-old daughter, Jaren, who's been missing along with her friend, 15-year-old Emily Golden. The last time anyone saw them was last Tuesday at Angleton High School, where they attend. Jaren's mother said the morning her daughter left for school, everything seemed normal. They were discussing the upcoming weekend.
We were talking that morning about what she was going to be for Halloween on Saturday. Because we were coming up with different little puns, like a pun Halloween costume.
That was the last conversation they had. The last time anyone has heard from either girl was Tuesday night when 15-year-old Emily texted her mother saying, I'm okay, I'll be home tonight. Neither girl has been home since last Tuesday. Investigators with Angleton ISD police say they believe the girl's disappearance was planned, but that something may have gone wrong with that plan. Regardless, the Morgans just want to hear from their daughter.
At least call.
We love you. Just please come home or call us just to let us know that you're okay.
And investigators tell us that they have received records from one of the girls' phones, and it has pinged on cell phone towers, first in Houston, then Pasadena, all the way to Conroe, and most recently near downtown Houston. But the search to bring them back here to Angleton does continue.
Yeah, so we need to do that. Now, you,
Gulf Coast girl.
Both those girls you're looking at.
Gulf Coast
girl
said that her grandchildren's mother had something to do with it. Desiree's case.
What do you mean something to do with it? Is it like she knows the family, or she knows the people?
It had something to do with the disappearance.
Did you what do you mean?
My grandchildren's mother had something to do with Desi's disappearance.
You mean like, what do you mean had something to do with it?
Have you told the police?
I mean, does the law enforcement know this, or what? I don't understand exactly what you mean by that.
Mr. T, my grandchildren's mother is in the cartel.
Oh,
Well, and I can understand your fear.
yeah, I agree. Does law enforcement know about it? I mean, you do not have to tell them who's calling. You make an anonymous, call. That's what, anybody wants to share anything. Here's what I'll tell you about. Okay. If you want to share something with me,
She said yes, they know.
or you don't want to call them yourself, law enforcement, send me a message there at the missinglivestream@gmail.com, and I promise you I will get law enforcement the information. But there's also a way that, anybody, FBI, DEA, anybody, they all have tip lines that you don't have to tell who you are. But you're welcome to let me know, and I will communicate with you. And if you tell me, do not share my name, I will not share your name. I will call law enforcement and tell them what you told me. I've already done that once in the Leah Cavett case. I called the FBI and told them some information I had.
She's going to email you.
Okay, that's great.
And I understand that fear, because you remember when the cartel hit this area up here, they killed that grandmother and the 14-year-old girl.
Yeah, we actually had in Huntsville area, we had a girl that was killed. Two guys associated with the cartel killed a grandmother and a girl.
14-year-old.
Didn't
she have Down syndrome or something?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what they did, but
handicapped.
they did kill both of them. And I actually know, I know the lawyer actually is handling one of their cases. That is bad.
Said Jackson, whose stepmother was murdered, said the man ended up with a hung jury 11-1 for acquittal. Her name was Emily Anderson. It happened in 2005.
Wow.
Gulf Coast girl had to move from Missouri.
Wow. There is
several options.
There is people that don't realize that the cartel is in the United States. They think that when you think of the cartel, they think that there's this big mafia outfit that it lives on a compound in Mexico and does this, but the cartel, Gracie, baby, they could be just a couple of guys that live in your neighborhood that are associated with the cartel through their drug trafficking or their human trafficking. But they'll be involved. There may be a family that knows somebody that's associated with the cartel. It doesn't mean that the cartel is completely different than the mafia. Cartel they can start with a family, but they're not like made men and all that kind of stuff. The mafia is like totally different, put it that way. They're more of the cartel's organized for sure, but they're not as organized as the American mafia. And but they are. I mean, there's dealers that deal for the cartel. They're not in the cartel, or they'll borrow money for the cartel, whatever. MS-13 is not really per se in the cartel. The MS-13 is a gang, a very violent Mexican gang. Is like a cartel itself, and also the Mexican mafia and a lot of other stuff like that.
Is the 81-year-old who the family is talking about, who walked away from New Hampshire? If so, it's in Los Angeles. 81-year-old.
But they're talking about the guy that walked away or ran off from the mental institution. They had dementia or something.
I thought he was a young man.
No,
schizophrenic.
I don't know about that. Um,
Hold on, I'll go back up.
where is Gracie at?
She's in the other room.
Um,
She's there talking to Michael. There's a lot of comments I'm trying to find. Does anyone remember about the guy running away from the good grief, running away from the nursing home?
I'm kind of standoffish about featuring a lot of runaways until they've been gone for about 4 or 5 days, because they normally come back. Within 4 or 5 days, they come back. And but if you got somebody that you want me to put out there that you think that couldn't be something other than they just went to their friend's house or camping in the woods, you give me an email. I'll take care of it. I'll feature it, even if we just put up a small piece on it. The problem is that, like we said, that 75% of all the runaways in the United States come home in just a few days. 75%. The 25% of the ones that you kind of worry what's going on with that, Did they run off with a man, an older guy? What was it? Wasn't it either Bass or Glass or whatever that was out, and that she had left missing 4 or 5 days, and then she was found that she met somebody online. And I think, that's the one problem, is these people meet these people online, and you don't know who you're talking to through the other side of the computer. You know who you're talking to because you can see me, but you really don't know if they're talking if they have an avatar up there. They could have a picture of a young person and it's not them, Gracie, where's she at?
He didn't run away.
Where's
29. He was a 29-year-old, but not very emotional, mature. His only friend is his mom. She's been chatting last night to another YouTuber regarding his case.
29 years
Yeah, where
old.
did it happen at, MH? Bye, Joyce. Hope you get some sleep.
Bye, Joyce. Is that?
That's Gracie. I don't know.
Where is Gracie?
Let me see if she.
Are you got something down in there?
No. Let me see if she.
Where is she at?
No, they're both looking at me. Y'all need to go potty. You go potty? Okay. Come on.
They needed to go outside to go to the bathroom. Dusty is doing 2 of the Barnestown. Tyson is is sick. Think COVID. Going to head over for support. That's fine, Joyce. We usually try to cut off a little bit to go over actually to Tyson's or Dusty's show anyway. I'm trying not to butt heads with them. I really am. So listen, we're going to cut off. I am going to put together something on the pups so you will see them next time.
Well, show the old one this time.
Let me see if I got the old one still up here. I may not.
Thank y'all for all your input.
Yes, thank you for your
and that MH said it was Edmond Washington. I'm sorry, my memory's so bad I couldn't remember that.
I'm going to play a little thing about our dogs as we go out because my wife wants me to. I appreciate the super chats. I really sincerely do. I appreciate everything that y'all are doing for me. If you could give us a thumbs up, if you could share our channel, that would be awesome. We appreciate your memberships and everything y'all do for us. It's just amazing. Appreciate your prayers. And we're gonna go out with this little thing here on our pups, and I will see y'all back on Friday and email me if
Can
there's
y'all
something that I
update-
need
she's-
to.
I'm sorry, Beach Bum said, can y'all update something? And wait a minute, let me run back up there. Can you update the community page with missing?
I will try to. You mean the ones that we featured already? The ones that we featured already, or what do you mean? I'm gonna have to let my wife get on the community page. Are you talking about the ones that we featured?
Yes. Beach
Okay,
Bum said yes.
we will do our best to do that. I'll try to go back and at least put their names and where they're from. How about that? Would that be good?
They're going to look into the Sawyer missing. Angel is.
Okay.
Thanks, Angel.
Thanks, Angel. We will see you on Friday, and I hope to I'll be putting some stuff on the community page too about what you would rather see on there, and what we'll just put some stuff on there. Good night. Hope you enjoy this little reel. God bless you.
Ready?
He's just not as good at
Ready? Good girl, Max. Good. You ready?
Gotta get down.
Down. You ready? Oh, don't let you kick.
I know.
Good girl, Max.